Technical difficulties there, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on, everybody? It is episode 758 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am exhausted today, but I am here with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, crisis actors. It's Mary. We did just avert a crisis of our own making, but it's okay. And Brett will be needing extra support today. Send crisis parties, please.
Yeah, please send crisis parties. I'm out of it today. No, I was like, so we were about to go live. And I was like, so first of all, what you do right before you go live is you turn it from analytics to viewer activity, and then I'm like mute and minimize the chat, and it just froze up, and I'm like, oh, fantastic. This is going to be great.
I said the clock strikes 2:59, and the demons just come out to play. They want to F with us, but we're not going to let them. Not today, Satan. We're talking about faith-based films, so that's actually fitting.
It's relevant to today's discussion, so now I'm multitasking. I'm trying to move the text window over there while talking to you guys.
I am so glad that the vast majority of you don't use Instacart, because if we found out it was a lot of you, you might be unsubscribing today. We're going to be dissing people who use Instacart.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to diss people.
You're going to act like you weren't dissing them off camera. Okay.
No, I was dissing the lady for being annoying. I've used Instacart. It would make me a hypocrite to be too judgmental. Well,
okay. You said that Instacart, DoorDash, these delivery services.
No, but I used Instacart before when I didn't have a car.
Yeah, I mean that's different. That's different. Most of the time, people are using those services because they just don't feel like leaving the house.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's not the case for me here for whatever's going on. Yeah, no, I used it out here because it was very hard to get groceries delivered out in this area where we were. But we got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already, ladies and gentlemen. The best way that you can help this channel grow is to share the segments out with your friends, your family, your loved ones, people that you like, people that you don't like. A mortal enemy, perhaps, if you have them. The more people that you share it with, the faster this channel can grow. Get people talking, get them in the comment section, dunking on us for whatever their opinions are, our opinions might be. But that is the best way to help us. So thank you guys so much for that. We got a bunch to talk about. The number one being that Drake has filed a lawsuit against his own record label because he believes that they were helping to kind of defame him so that they could take over his next contract negotiations and put him in the poorhouse. So we're going to talk about that.
Chess. We have a 20 from Jose Quintana. You the man, Brett. We support you. Good afternoon, Ghost Empress. What happened with your Taco Bell app? Taco Bell should place you front and center on all their ads, or maybe not. Long live PCC. I think if they did make me a Taco Bell brand ambassador, it would turn into a massive controversy for them.
Yeah, I don't think that it's going to work out well for them.
Unlikely to happen in the future, but I don't know what happened yesterday. It was just it was some kind of fluke, some kind of glitch happened, and I swear I opened it right at 5 p.m., right when it was supposed to start, and it just gave me an error message. I tried it, I closed the app, opened it again, updated it, and then by the time I was done troubleshooting, it just said that everyone claimed their reward already. So I was left out, and I feel like I deserve better because I'm such a loyal rewards member.
Well, you are.
I am not going to let them forget this.
So, but thank you, Jose Quintana. He's on his way to helping us feel better by getting us to crisis parties, which is what we really need right now. We do got other stuff to get into today. So, if you don't remember, not too long ago, it was about a week ago, right, that Aubrey Plaza's husband, he committed suicide. And the problem is that the internet is a dirty, rotten place to be. And they have ostensibly chased Aubrey Plaza off of Instagram because people were using it as a time to talk about her newly single status, which is, of course, a ghoulish thing that people on the internet would say. So we're going to discuss it. We're also going to talk about Keke Palmer, who believes that racism may have played a part in the fact that she is not as big of a performer as, say, Selena Gomez.
A literal billionaire.
Yes.
She says racism held her back from ending up in the Mount Rushmore of child stars from Disney and Nickelodeon. And I'm sorry, I enjoyed her show back when she was on Nickelodeon.
You had to tell me what it was.
I did have to tell you what it was because it wasn't that big of a deal. And she's claiming that's because of racism in Hollywood.
Well, we're going to get into it.
Sort of like Jimon Hunsu.
Yeah.
It's just Jimon Hunsu, but from a millennial.
All right. Well, we're going to get into it. We got a bunch of other stuff to get into. You ready to get started?
I think I'm ready.
All right. Well, then this first one's going to be great because this is the story everyone's been waiting for.
Schadenfreude, really. A middle-aged French woman recently parted ways with a large sum of money and her husband after falling victim to an AI-generated Brad Pitt romance scam. She lost $850,000 of her own money from her divorce settlement. This Brad Pitt scam artist slid into her DMs on Facebook, promised her love, marriage, pleaded with her to leave her millionaire husband.
Look, I mean, everyone knows that Angelina Jolie has made his life a living hell in that divorce settlement. I mean, he's not coming out to it looking too great either. He doesn't seem like all that great of a guy. But, you know, a woman might fall for his passes. You know, he's like, look, I've been mistreated by Angelina Jolie for years.
I just want a woman who's out of the spotlight. You know, who just wants a private life. No,
she can have the winery.
So this scam artist was pleading with her to leave her millionaire husband. Literally, this woman is with a millionaire and decided to divorce him because she fell in love with what appeared to be Brad Pitt. The only thing that maybe caught her on to the fact that this was all a ruse was Brad Pitt making appearances in public with his real-life girlfriend instead of her.
I would love to see the messages of the AI version tap dancing around that. He's like, look, I'm going to break it off. You just got to give me some time.
Right. It's like, you know, it's a PR relationship. We're doing it for promotional purposes. You don't understand.
Of course.
You don't understand the pressures of life in the limelight, life in the fast lane. So, yeah, this woman is 53 years old. She fell for the scam back in 2023.
I swear we talked about it.
I could have sworn there was a similar situation, but I feel like it's not, because the other time we were talking about the Brad Pitt scam, it referred to 2 to 3 victims.
Yeah.
Not just her.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure she caught on to the scam later than everyone else. After these paparazzi photos of him with his now girlfriend came out in the fall. So the really sick part is this scam artist generated AI photos of Brad Pitt in hospital beds with tubes coming out of him.
Well, because Angelina Jolie made his life such a living hell, he's going to have fluids replaced.
Yeah, the scam artist claimed they needed money for cancer treatment, complete with faked hospital bed pictures to seal the con. And out of sympathy for her digital romance with Brad Pitt, she sent her entire divorce settlement payment.
That is insane. It reminds me of the modern day version of the Nigerian prince email is the... my favorite one that I've seen is, this is Zack Snyder from an alt account. I need you to send me $600 on Cash App so I can finish Justice League.
This one I saw in the replies. Hey, it's Michael Jackson. I'm messaging you from a private account. I'm not really dead. Can you Cash App me $600 so I can come back to the United States and put out more music? Hee hee.
How could you say no to more music from the King of Pop?
I want to give everyone a closer look at these photos because it's just like, you think to yourself, how could you possibly fall for this shit? And there's one where he's holding up a sign that says, "And I love you."
The facial expression in this one doesn't exactly match the text.
One of them says, "I love you so much, my wife."
Oh, man.
There's tubes and IV bags everywhere. And there's one of him even in active surgery. There's in the corner there, he's literally getting surgery on a grape.
Oh, man.
Brad Pitt the day before knee surgery.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to make this too Gen Z.
TMZ asked, how did she have that cash to send? It was her divorce settlement after trading in her millionaire husband for a fake movie star.
I wonder how long she was married for.
Could have been short relationship, given that she's 53 years old.
No.
They've probably been together for a long time, and this fake Brad Pitt scam destroyed her relationship. I mean, she let it happen.
I think this is also one of those things. This may be like an evolutionary thing. So if you're a guy of mediocre standing in life. Gentlemen, if you're like me and you understand what I'm talking about here, which is like if you've ever had a Facebook account and you get the ad from the suspiciously attractive Instagram model looking woman, see, men are now trained to know that is not real.
Yes.
That is a bot, that is fake, and talking to them is, at your own peril.
There are clues.
But women, that's just, they're getting so many real messages from real men all the time that it might be more believable that they might fall for something like this. It's a level of delusion. You can't even really fault them because they haven't been trained to not see it. Men see this stuff and they're like, okay, look, nobody's talking to me, let alone, I don't know, Angelina Jolie. Like...
Yeah, I guess the equivalent would be a man divorcing his wife in order to get with fake Angelina Jolie, but I've never seen a story like that.
Yeah.
And the scammers know just how to trigger her brain into opening her purse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a sympathy thing.
Yeah, he's like, not only do I love you, I'm hurt.
If you're wondering, she must have thought, like, Brad Pitt is... insanely wealthy. How does he need my money to pay for his cancer
It's
treatments?
even better, though. Like, then she's like, I have to help him?
Right. He needs me. Well, how could Brad Pitt possibly need my money to pay for chemo? But his claim, the scammer's claim was, I can't pay for this myself because I'm in the middle of divorce settlement with Angelina.
I mean, that just concluded. After 8 years, they finalized their divorce. The winery is still a point of contention. They're still fighting over the winery. If you ever want to feel more disconnected from reality, be a celebrity who fights over a winery.
Never thought it would happen, and it was a bitter ending to a long divorce settlement. They have been officially divorced since 2019, but the divorce settlement was still going on between their legal teams for years and years after the fact. And this made me recall the private jet incident and alleged abuse.
Well, from what I saw, one of the big sticking points that he had with the divorce settlement was that he wanted like a very vast non-disclosure agreement to protect his image. I don't know what, who knows whether...
Do you find that suspect?
No, I don't. Like, I would imagine that for any couple that's had as tumultuous of a relationship as they have, the idea is that he's not going to get the leeway that she might in that situation because he's the dude. If she's acted out, I don't think that people are going to look at her the same way as they would look at him.
Even in the post-Amber Heard era?
Even in the post-Amber Heard era. I don't know if it would matter. Like, does that mean I think he's a good guy or that he's innocent? No, not necessarily. But, I mean, you're two very, very wealthy people who are connected not just through marriage and kids, but through businesses. So he's treating it like a business arrangement. Like I said, they're still fighting over property and wineries. And
there was something about a treasure being buried beneath the winery.
Yeah, it was beneath like one of the mansions or something like that. And he spent a holiday there, and then like he like let another guy look for it on the property or something. That was enough of like a slice of life type story that it felt like something that was leaked by his publicist to make him seem like a quirky guy.
Yeah, definitely.
But look, ladies, I know that a lot of men are probably in your DMs. For all the what is our audience, like 1% women? I have no idea.
Open Bob and Vagine.
Yeah, like
no, our audience is like about a quarter.
Okay, ladies, I know that it's a thing, and there's a lot of men in your DMs, but a little bit of critical thinking might help you to realize that the chances of it being Brad Pitt are just not as high. Slim to none. I mean, that's not the same thing as, say, the Instagram models who get like athletes in their DMs. That's a very real thing. But one must hold themselves to a standard unto themselves, right? Like, you can't really put yourself there. I'm just saying, like, it's probably like err on the side of it's too good to be true. I'm kind of that way about everything. I've probably missed out on a million great opportunities in life because I'm like, that sounds too good to be true. Like, if it sounds like it's actually Brad Pitt, it's probably not.
But we've seen all of these stories about spouses who met on Twitter mainly. A lot of people have met on Twitter and ended up getting married. And I recently saw this woman tweeted at her celebrity crush. I don't recall who exactly it was, but someone replied. This guy replied. He was like, "I'm not him, but I like played the synth in the Alvin and the Chipmunks Chipettes.
See, I like that. That's like be avant-garde and just south of normal.
Right, it actually worked. And like they actually got married, so you know, there's hope out there. It's not like everyone in your DMs has to be a scam artist. It definitely has worked out for some people. But it's not Brad Pitt. It's not. It's never. Not. It's not Lupus. It's not Brad Pitt.
Maybe the idea would be like, you know, like certainly some actors date like non-famous people. That does happen, but a great majority of them meet them from other people in their inner circle, and I'm sure very rarely is it, you know.
Well, even when they date
actually, I don't know. Sliding into the DMs is probably way more common now than it ever was before. So.
Even when they date non-famous people, they're usually dating someone who just happens to be in their industry and is rich and unknown. Like Margot Robbie's husband. I don't remember who he is, but he's definitely important.
Yeah, he matters.
I don't know who he is.
He's got money.
I don't recall his name.
It's always an investment banker of some sort. Or,
she just had his baby.
Producer or something like that. It's just, you know, I guess it's just one of those things where I can almost applaud you for having so much self-confidence that you're like, yeah, Brad Pitt would want to get with me.
But you do not see, here's the thing, you see a lot of actresses dating screenwriters, directors, those types of people. But you do not see actors, like male actors, dating female directors or screenwriters.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I feel like they're so anomalous it doesn't count.
Well, that's why it came to my mind.
Because she's actually a groomer.
The reason I was able to think of it was because actually, you know what? There's probably people in the chat who know. Are there any good examples that you can think of what you said, male actors who date female screenwriters?
I know there are a lot of actors
directors
and actresses who are both on camera people that date each other, but most of the time, if it's imbalanced, the woman is the one who's on camera. That's what I've noticed, at least.
They're saying that Aaron Taylor Johnson was groomed. That's not the point of the conversation.
Yeah, it's not.
Like, that's,
well, yeah, they're definitely not representative of the whole trend.
Was he an adult when they met? Just way younger?
I don't
think you can
think so.
If he was underage, okay, but if he was an adult and I don't know.
I don't care really.
Yeah.
I don't really think that the legal ramifications equal what's ethical or not ethical. So I do think that he was groomed. Personally, I'm
waiting to see if anybody can think of. Maybe we'll come back to it. I'll try to think of. Maybe I'll look in this tonight. This will be one of those IMDb rabbit holes I'll go down.
Well, this
ladies. Oh, they're saying he was 15. Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh wow, I didn't know that either.
Wow.
Well, we're gonna talk about some more differences between men and women in this next topic. Instacart shopping is more suited to women, at least if you ask people who use the app. And this has turned into a massive controversy, with one woman on TikTok even calling for the outright ban of male Instacart shoppers. I think there are some other factors at play here beyond just evolutionary psychology, women being the gatherers, men being the hunters, things like that. But let's watch her video and see what exactly the hullabaloo is about. And
excellent.
Honestly, she is complaining in an insufferable fashion in this video. I think that she should just go, get in her car, go to the store and buy her own damn groceries if it's so hard to get someone else to do it.
Okay, here we go.
Mad. If you are not the CEO of DoorDash or Instacart, keep scrolling. This is not for you. I am begging you to make an update on your app where I can request a female shopper. I'm gonna need that to happen. I put in an order for 5 items. One of these items is what I ordered. Let's go through it together. I ordered a half gallon of store brand milk. I got a quarter gallon of Tuscan, and you can't tell me that they didn't have store brand milk because I have never been in there and they have been out of stock of store brand milk.
I have actually seen at the Weiss by me out of the store brand version of the ones of the 2% that I get. So
she never saw that.
There's a great Ryan Long video about people not understanding averages, which is why I'm saying this right now. I understand that that's not the point. Here we go.
Moving on. I ordered a chopped Caesar salad kit. I got the ultimate Caesar salad kit, and I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting this because you have to look slightly harder for the chopped Caesar salad kit, and a man would never. He would just pick the one he sees
How
first.
dare he?
I ordered mozzarella pearls. I got a mozzarella log, again, because you have to look slightly harder for the pearls, so why would he ever? I ordered garlic and herb Land O'Lakes spread. I got butter with canola oil. Awesome. Now I have a third container of butter in my fridge. And I actually messaged him and said, hey, can you just not substitute that one and refund me if you can't find the garlic and herb? Great. And then the one thing I actually ordered specifically was the store brand Italian seasoning. So, yeah, I'm going to need that update to where I can request a female because this is fucking annoying. I just think we should make it to where men cannot be shoppers for Instacart or DoorDash, but that would be discrimination. So, yeah. Normally, I never go through and complain on the DoorDash app because when I was a Dasher, it always fell on the driver and not like the restaurant or whatever. But like, this was the driver's fault. This was the shopper's fault. So I got a full refund. Fuck you, Ronald. Top shopper, my ass.
She said, F you, Ronald.
Oh,
Damn, Ronald is in the doghouse now.
they don't like him.
Yeah, I have seen this topic of debate for quite a while now.
Yep.
A lot of women are very frustrated with not only male Instacart shoppers, but also their own husbands for being seemingly incapable of finding things at the grocery store or even in their own refrigerator.
I do love the meme that would go around during Biden's first few years. It's like my wife says, will you write this list down for stuff to get at the grocery store? No, I'll remember it. Me at the grocery store. And it's the one of Biden going,
Well, thankfully, Biden had his own White House chef.
Yeah.
Didn't have to worry about these commoner problems.
And this was, of course, long before. Maybe it's a bigger commentary on just how lonely we are as a society, because this problem before would have been about a wife sending her husband to the store to get the stuff, and then the husband comes back with all the wrong stuff. She doesn't have a husband, so she has to have Ronald.
Or even better, if you want to be really based, you'd have a homestead where you make all of this stuff yourself.
Yeah.
That would be based.
Yeah.
And red-pilled, I hear. You wouldn't have to go to the grocery store if you lived on a self-sufficient homestead.
You wouldn't have to go
in the woods.
to the store.
Yeah. So here's this tweet. I think Instacart should give you the option of what shopper you want. People should rate them, and if you get too many requests wrong, you should be picked to shop not be picked to shop for groceries. Get pushed to the bottom of the queue. If that were the case, only women would be at the top of the queue. They would run Instacart, so that's not going to happen.
Hey,
and here's another part.
That's a merit-based system. I'm not sure I even disagree with it.
But they're not going to change it.
There's a 20 there.
We have a 20 from Cesario JPN. I researched using DoorDash for my Vegas trip because I was pretty much going to stay on the Strip, LVCC, and Fremont with no car and without running to CVS near the hotel. DoorDash slapped on 75% of the price on stuff before delivery fee. Nope. Yep. Yeah, everyone says it used to be cheap, but
so it was
no longer.
When I first used it, I used it a couple of times when I was living in Minnesota, and it was very, very cheap. I did have to use it out here when I didn't have a car, just because getting around out here is very, very difficult. You can't just walk to the corner store most of the time. There was like three ladies who had the monopoly on the area we were living in, doing all the Instacarting.
They ran it like the Navy.
Champions every time. Actually, you know what? Not most of the time. More than a few times, the item they got was wrong. And guess what I did? I didn't complain because it wasn't that big of a deal.
I mean, someone in the chat said settle for what you get if you're lazy. And I agree.
Go get it yourself.
You kind of expect to be waited on hand and foot by all of these digital services, and when it's not up to snuff, you want to complain about it on TikTok instead of spending less time actually just going to get it yourself. It's kind of ridiculous. But another aspect of this that no one is willing to talk about, especially the white women using this service, a lot of these people doing the whole gig economy thing, be it Uber, DoorDash, Instacart, they are foreigners. A lot of them don't know the English language. They don't know what they're even shopping for other than pictures. They're going off of pictures. And they can't, therefore, be expected to be competent at this job.
Seth in the chat says, I bet you they don't even understand what Instacart is. It's not like those people actually go into the store. They place an order with the store, and then the store clerks get the order. I don't know if they're having a conversation about something else, but whenever I used Instacart, you actually spoke to the person. You could have text chat back and forth with the person.
They would send you a picture of the shelves and show you what's in stock.
He might be having a conversation with other people there. I was just double checking. Yeah. You know,
this one chick tweeted out an example of a male Instacart shopper not seeing what's very clearly in front of him. Here, you see he's looking at ginger ale on the shelf, and he says, they don't have it. They don't have the ginger ale. It's literally in the picture.
The comparison is, of course, when the wife asks the husband to get something from the fridge, and he looks for 5 minutes and starts getting terrified because he knows if she gets up to go look at it, she's going to find it right away, and she's going to be pissed.
This person ordered Ben's original butter and garlic flavored rice.
Do they use the term?
And it got replaced with Bengay greaseless pain relieving cream.
Look, they cost the same. How bad could it be?
It's basically
the same thing. Look, at least you know what it's not being referred to as here is weaponized incompetence, because that's what they would use if they were married. If they were married, they would use the term weaponized incompetence. Though there is the off chance that maybe there's just one dude who really doesn't like women who goes and works at Instacart so he can get all the wrong stuff for people.
Just F's up their orders to be a menace.
He sees a lady whose name he just really doesn't like, and he's like, you know what? I knew a lady named Karen. In college, she was awful. Therefore, you're getting Ben Gay rather than Uncle Ben's rice.
They interviewed one of these Instacart customers for a HuffPost piece. She said, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, I would say I'd give male shoppers a 1. In my experience, women get it right, and I don't have to tell them what to substitute with. They don't pick out bad items, and they actually listen. She said once she had to cancel an entire order because a shopper could only find 1 out of 10 items in the store. Another time, a man bought her moldy fruit and expired food. I have good expectations for men and believe they can do whatever they put their minds to. I just think grocery shopping ain't it. Women are obsessed with the details more than men.
Yeah.
It's actually proven that men don't see static objects the same way that women do.
I mean, it's definitely something that I struggle with. Like, I could be looking at something that's directly in front of me for like 2 to 5 minutes and not see it.
Have you ever looked for your glasses while you were wearing them?
No, I don't think that one's happened to me, but I've got plenty other stories of me just looking for something and not being able. There have been times where I've been looking for my phone and I'm holding it.
Olivia said, did she Instacart that extremely round face too?
That's rude.
The chick in the TikTok, or
probably
me, who also has an extremely round face?
the lady in the TikTok. Look, this is true that guys probably don't catch the items as much, but when we go to the store, I think I'm pretty good at getting the items when we go to the store. But at the same time, I'm the one who just scavenges until I find it. Like Olivia will look it up on the app so she can get. She gets like the direct aisle number.
It's also great exercise to wander around a store. For way longer than you need to.
Like maybe a merit-based system isn't the worst idea, but at the rate they're getting paid, nobody's going to want to participate in like a merit-based system.
No.
I mean, the tips are supposed to be the merit-based system.
You were trying to think of an example that would make sense.
Guys, what is an example? What is an example going the other direction? This is me addressing you, the chat, that you can think of. What is something that is not physical in nature that women for some reason just wouldn't be able to do?
Because the only thing I can think of would be driving, but that's still, I don't know if that's just a stereotype because men are more prone to reckless driving.
There was a line in a episode of Burn Notice I had on in the background where Michael says in the voiceover, he goes like, he goes, when you're in the middle of an operation, it's good to play against stereotypes. Tourists are fat and women can't drive. And Olivia just looks up and goes, ain't that the truth?
And that's how you knew she was the one.
Yes. Look, I don't know if there's an example. My favorite, it's not really the same thing, but like when they say like, you can't hurt me, I had to hold a flashlight for my father. I can't think of a female. It'd be like if I asked
Bill, you a strong
I had to
emotional
ask, so
armor.
I did ask Mary earlier. I said, like, what if I sent you to get a Phillips head screwdriver?
Oh.
Right?
And
what did you say?
I was like, oh, is that the flat one?
No, that's the flathead screwdriver.
Yeah.
But that could be
Might be the one. The flat screwdriver might be the one with flat in the name of the screwdriver. I'm just saying, if I were sent to Harbor Freight to shop for a man, I wouldn't know the first thing about where to look for any of it. So
there you go.
I would just get the employee to tell me.
Maybe Home Depot. Maybe sending a woman to Home Depot would be the.
I do. Okay, I would not know where to go, but I love the smell of a Home Depot.
Yep.
There's just something about it.
Chat, I would love to know what you guys think. Maybe I'll keep an eye on it throughout the show and see what it was. Though I doubt if there was like sending, people to get you stuff at Home Depot. First of all, men want to go to the store specifically. They don't want to send someone else there, but they wouldn't make videos about how the woman got the wrong,
Yeah. It doesn't really go the other way around. We'll also keep an eye on the poll.
All right.
And see how many of you are guilty of this.
All right. All right. Let us move on then.
It looks like faith-based films and faith-based entertainment in general is having a really big comeback in Hollywood right now, gaining traction because it's been a long time since the likes of God's Not Dead gave faith-based films a terrible reputation. I remember watching that one myself and just cringing the entire time, despite the fact that I agree with these people who are making the movie on religious grounds. They were incapable of making one that resonated with a wider audience. I see a couple of projects that are currently in the works ahead of their release that are quite promising. The first of which is one I was worried about. A sequel to Passion of the Christ, directed by Mel Gibson.
This time it's personal.
Most likely starring Jim Caviezel. I have no idea what they're going to do to de-age Jim Caviezel. I'm not saying that he looks terrible for his age, but it's been a quarter century.
Yeah.
So
when was Passion of the Christ? 2004, something like that.
Was it? I thought it was 2001 for a second.
Okay, but early 2000s.
But yeah, it's been a while since the original came out, and now Mel Gibson is looking to create a sequel to come out in a couple years' time, probably. He's teasing it here in this interview with Joe Rogan.
I do recommend everyone go and listen to this interview. It's actually really, really good. But here we go.
Yeah.
So
he's very engaging.
This story that you want to tell about good and evil, do you have a script or is it just a thing in your head? What is it?
Yeah, it's the resurrection story, but it's not linear because you can't really. It's hard to understand, so it's got to be put in a framework where you answer a few other questions as well. And you have to juxtapose the event itself against everything else so that it makes some kind of sense in a bigger picture, which is a hard thing to do. And it took my brother and I and a guy called Randall Wallace, plus my brother and I, took us 6-7 years to write it.
So are you doing this with historians as well? Are you trying to make it?
Yeah, historical stuff. Well, I regard the Gospels as history. It's verifiable history. Some people say, "Oh, it's a fairy tale." He never existed, but he did. And there are other accounts, verifiable historical accounts outside the biblical ones that also bear this up. That yes, he did exist. And the other aspect of that is that all the evangelists, the apostles who went out there. Every single one of those guys died rather than deny their belief. And nobody dies for a lie. Nobody.
Right.
So that's part of what I'm doing. It's like showing nobody dies for a lie.
Okay.
We have a 20 from Olivia. Passion of the Christ 2. Jesus returns on a pterodactyl, and this time he's not effing around.
What did I say yesterday? I was like Passion of the Christ 2. This time it's personal.
Electric Boogaloo. I
like Christ harder. Like
the meme potential is off the charts, and this is exactly what I was worried about. Even the whole precedent of creating a sequel to a movie about Jesus seems a little bit cartoonish to me, you know? Seems a
More
little
Christ,
bit
more passion.
like, I don't know, there are so many other faith-based stories that you could do that don't just capitalize on the one that you did in the early 2000s that was great as its own standalone piece of art.
I would probably say that given the fact that the audience for a sequel to this and the audience for one that explores a different area of faith-based storytelling would be the same audience. So it's not like you're hitting yourself with like an unrecognizable story most of the time, right? The novelty of the genre is usually enough to bring out the people who like that type of storytelling. So you don't need to lean on a sequel to that storytelling.
Right, which is why, for instance, The Chosen is going to conclude, and they have plans to make a series, I believe, about King David.
Yeah.
That's a less known story, a less known figure, obviously, than Jesus.
Yeah.
That would probably attract a different audience than just doubling down on the same thing.
Well, no, I think that's a lot of the same audience. I think the people that would watch The Chosen or the people that watch Passion of the Christ would be hungry for more storytelling of a similar nature.
Well, I don't know. I feel like Father Stu is like one of the best religious movies I've ever seen, and I had no idea who he was when I came into it.
I mean, but that was also portrayed as more of like the tale of a person more than religious.
But I like
history.
that.
Yeah, no, that was one of my favorite movies of 2022.
That's something that people like about The Chosen is it feels like a real story about a person rather than a mythological version of it, you know?
So we don't just have that.
Yeah, I also saw the first trailer come out for an Angel Studios animated movie called King of Kings, starring Oscar Isaac, of all people, as Jesus in the movie.
I'm sorry, but the image of it's very memeable. It's very bobblehead. It looked like Keanu Reeves' bobblehead.
The animation style,
the
it
trailer
looks like...
is really good. The trailer is really good, but the art style for Jesus is memeable.
This was made by a South Korean animation studio, and then it was later bought. The rights were bought by Angel Studios to release it. It's inspired by Charles Dickens' short story, The Life of Our Lord. He read this story annually to his family as a Christmas tradition, but the work was largely unknown until it was published in 1934. The story follows Charles Dickens, his son Walter, and their cat Willa as they become immersed in the story of Jesus. So that's why Charles Dickens is in the trailer for this movie, which I also found confusing at first.
Dingus Khan is correct in the chat. He says N64 graphics. Yes. It does look like you're playing the game GoldenEye with DK mode on, big head mode on, and you're playing it as Jesus. That's a bit what it looks like.
Okay, well,
here for
let's take a look at the trailer.
Here we go.
I'd like to tell you a story, son. Some say it's the greatest story ever told.
Hold, please. Horrible timing, as usual.
The greatest story ever told, and we have to stop for a crisis party. Thank you.
Let the beat drop. Okay. Out of respect, I'm going to restart.
Okay.
I'd like to tell you a story, son. Some say it's the greatest story ever told. It has angels and wicked kings, jealous rivals, and miracles.
What the hell?
Jesus still had lessons to teach us.
Look!
Don't be afraid.
You're ready.
Whatever money it cost, they spent it on the talent for this movie. Because that is a crazy list of stars.
Absolutely stacked.
Like
so they say
Kenneth
Branagh, and then Uma Thurman, Mark Hamill, Pierce Brosnan, and obviously
Oscar Isaac,
Roman Griffin Davis,
and I saw Forrest Whitaker. Like that's a lot of big name actors,
Kingsley.
and Ben Kingsley. That's a lot of big name actors that cost a lot of money.
That is huge. Yeah, but they had that lineup before Angel Studios acquired the rights.
I don't think Mark Hamill would have done it if
this. Yeah, that's why I was surprised to see his name especially.
Yeah. He doesn't act very Christian these days.
And you know, it's a well done trailer, despite the
mediocre animation, great pacing and editing.
Yeah, it's not.
That score will get you no matter how the images look.
Yeah, it was evocative.
Yep.
So, higher hopes for that.
That got me more than any of the other things that we've watched in this space lately. Like I would watch that.
Most of the comments that I saw in response to this trailer were expressing shock that Oscar Isaac would take the lead role.
Yeah. Why? Because they think he's above this somehow?
They do. They think that an actor of Oscar Isaac's caliber would be cut above doing anything faith-based because it has lesser clout in the industry.
All of those actors are of Oscar Isaac's level.
Yeah, they were kind of expressing shock that any of these people would attach their name to a project like this.
Yeah.
But one person referring to Oscar Isaac said, Marvel promised an Avenger role to this guy and left him stranded. He has to make money somehow.
Yeah.
You know, when traditional establishment Hollywood doesn't come through for you, you have to go to other venues. And then someone else pointed out, people don't understand the genuine level of power that faith-based studios have in the industry. They don't understand that actors need money, and this won't be an outlier. It's sort of like the Blumhouse effect in a way. These are like relatively low budget projects that have a very loyal audience that will come back to each project time and time again.
Or A24.
Yeah, A24 as well. So I
still like my idea of the wacky comedy where the guy for the I would call it Apostle Studios, and he wants Keanu Reeves, because I still say this guy, like I still say they use Keanu Reeves as some type of like
Keanu Reeves would actually do a great job being a voice actor for Jesus.
So I
think about it.
What it is it's a comedy where this guy who's paradoxically he's kind of toxic, but he works for like a religious studio. And he wants Keanu Reeves to play Jesus. So he organizes a bunch of slapstick means to get him canceled in the industry, and they keep failing. And he can't get him canceled. And at the end, Keanu admits that he'd do it for them anyways. He's like, I would have just done it anyways. Hilarity could ensue with that movie. I want to watch it.
I want to see that too.
Yeah. As for Mark Hamill, like maybe he just felt like he's been developing some bad mojo lately, and he needed to cleanse his soul. I don't think that that's the case.
Or he just thought that this movie would be successful and he wasn't attached to it in any type of ideological way.
Yeah. All right.
Which would be correct.
Let us know what you guys think down in the comments. Did you enjoy the trailer? I thought maybe it was mainly just the score and the voiceover work, but it looked like a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, it does look like fun.
All right. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's see cute first.
Cute first? Okay. All right. Here we go, guys. This one is from Roger Shadow. It says, Cheese the kitty, Nala the pooch are best friends and love dad. They love dad so much they'll risk waking him up.
Aww.
They do.
I love seeing them get along.
It looks photoshopped to me.
What?
Doesn't it kind of look? They look like hard lines there. It looks photoshopped to me. I love it though. Your cat is so cool. It looks photoshopped in.
Very cute. Aw, love the eyes. Your cat's eyes.
Yes. Aw, there we go. Very
Sweet.
Cute. All right. How bad is the cringe today?
It might really bother you. I'm not sure though.
Okay. All right, here we go. For those who are listening, it looks like we see, what is this? A Subway?
A Subway, yeah.
And it says on the screen, Shorty wanted me. I just wanted a couple more pickles.
Yeah.
I just want a couple more pickles. There's barely any on there. I just want more pickles. I just want more pickles, miss. There's barely any on there. You guys are exaggerating. I don't understand. I just want pickles. But pickles are my favorite.
Are you unemployed or something?
I am unemployed. This is... You really?
Yeah.
I just want more pickles. I don't understand.
Yeah, go to the fucking store and buy some then.
But I just want more pickles on my sandwich.
Theoretically, if he's unemployed, he could use EBT and get way more pickles at the grocery store than he can. Everybody knows Subway's way overpriced these days.
So true.
My God, that was awful.
No, there's more.
Oh gosh.
Why?
You're annoying as fuck.
Why?
Why? Because there's fucking
You're
pickles
being
there.
so mean.
You're being annoying as fuck.
But there's barely any pickles. Why are you mimicking me?
You know that.
Why are you guys being so mean?
Seriously?
There's barely any pickles. I just want a couple more.
Oh my god.
I just want a couple more pickles. Don't call the cops. I just want more pickles. I have nothing. I just want to.
It's the worst type of internet trolling. Like, it's
You
just,
mean real life trolling?
but it's for internet clout.
That
It's
gets
It's
posted?
a menace to society.
But I mean, what is she gonna do? Call 911 and be like, "Hello, police.
Yeah.
There's a guy at Subway who wants more pickles." And they're like, "Ma'am, this is an emergency
And
line.
she's like, you don't get it. His voice was really annoying.
You don't get it. He's unemployed."
That was horrible. He just wants more pickles.
You guys are exaggerating.
F that guy. That was awful. All for internet clout. All
Oh,
right.
man.
All right. Let
Okay.
us get started then.
I'm sorry. I need to pull myself together.
Hold, please.
Okay.
You got it.
This is the long-awaited clapback from Drake in his longtime feud with Kendrick Lamar over his diss track, Not Like Us. He is now filing a federal lawsuit against Universal Music Group for promoting this song, Payola, in order to damage his reputation and give him less leverage in their own contractual negotiations with him. Drake says that they used Not Like Us and promoted the song, which says some terrible things about him, in order to tear down his career. And in case you're not familiar with the song, I wasn't all that familiar either. It was the most streamed song of 2024. Here were some of the lyrics that Kendrick Lamar wrote about Drake. Drake, I hear you like 'em young. You better not ever go to cell block 1. To any bitch that talk to him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from him. Certified lover boy, certified PDF files. Why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord. It's probably a minor.
Yes, as they're saying in the chat. I can't stand Kendrick Lamar's actual style.
I
That's
think
just
they're
me
both
personally.
really annoying, personally.
Drake was never my cup of tea either. I like it's funny too because a lot of people would talk about comparing him to J. Cole. Meh, J. Cole's better anyways. But I saw a lot of people compare him to Nas, which is just to me sacrilegious because I love Nas and it's just no.
Drake is
In
annoying
theme,
for reasons that need not even be explained.
Yeah.
But Kendrick Lamar is annoying in a very special pseudo-intellectual way.
But the point here is that if you're battling back and forth and you battle back with a lawsuit, it means you lost.
Right, everyone is saying
Drake lost.
Drake, get in the booth. Why are you filing lawsuits? Get in the booth and make a diss track, but he can't do it.
So he wants to do this because he feels like it's going to hurt his negotiations when his contract comes up for renewal.
It was hard for me to understand his argument at first, but this is not a lawsuit against Kendrick Lamar. It's only against UMG. This is his own record label, by the way. But they benefited massively, just in financial terms, from them being in a feud because these are both members of talent.
Story as old as time.
Under their label, and
hip-hop.
it's the illusion of choice, and they wanted to promote this rivalry to make money off of it, and I'm sure they made a lot.
There's a 20 there from Olivia with a heart on there.
Mary raps like Shapiro. I was not rapping. Please do not think I was making an attempt at rap performance. That is not me. I would never. They say Drake is not backing down in the war against his own label. He's upped the ante by suing UMG for spreading a false and malicious narrative that he is a pedophile. TMZ has learned Drake filed the defamation case in federal court. He started off by filing a complaint in New York State so that this would be investigated. And then after discovery, he dismissed that and then went to the federal level
Yeah.
But he says in the docs, he claims UMG knew full well that Kendrick Lamar's lyrics and images in the music video referring to Drake as a PDF file were false and dangerous. In the suit, he calls Kendrick's hit, filled with inflammatory and shocking allegations, a gold mine for UMG, and they had an ulterior financial motive to promote it. He says that they wanted to pump up Not Like Us because it would devalue Drake's music and brand, and therefore UMG would have more leverage in their future contract negotiations with Drake. They wouldn't need to give him as much money, essentially, if he didn't have as much fame as Kendrick Lamar. He has receipts to show just how far the label went to turn Kendrick's song into an anthem. According to the suit, UMG paid a third party to use bots, increasing the song's streams by at least 30 million, and engaged in pay-for-play on radio stations. But they based all of this on fraudulent data. And they also raise a question of what's going to happen at the Super Bowl this year, where Kendrick is headlining.
He's not going to perform this, I don't think.
I mean, it's his biggest song right now, so, like, how could he not? He probably will.
I don't know. That'll be interesting to see. It just doesn't seem like it would make much sense to perform it at the Super Bowl.
I mean, usually what you do at the Super Bowl is you're putting a bunch of your different hit songs together, so... I mean, this is his biggest song of the past year.
It's just funny because it's so specific and personal that it's...
I know, but it also, like, snowballed into this meme where, much like Diddy, Drake's name is synonymous with sus behavior, creepy behavior.
Well, the first thing that people think about is the Millie Bobby Brown thing.
Right. Notoriously, Millie Bobby Brown admitted when she was 14 years old that she had regular... texting conversations with Drake about boys and her dating life, if you even have one of those when you're 14 years old. He would talk to her about these matters, which is deeply inappropriate.
He's going to come back and be like, look, she's married now. Like, I gave great advice. He's like, she's happily married now. What are you talking about?
I mean, I can only assume there's just some suspicious activity going on there.
I kind of agree with the chat. I think that the Super Bowl will neuter the song.
They'll probably tell Kendrick he's not allowed.
Baboozle. And then I also think that likely it'll be intercut with other songs and he'll play a portion of it, probably the least inflammatory portion of it.
The suit also says this is not about Kendrick. It's entirely about UMG and their decision to publish, promote, exploit, and monetize the song, which they knew it contained false claims.
Well, there was also, remember, there have been big lawsuits going on in the government about the ability to use music as a means of prosecution, right? And a lot of these states say that you should not be able to, that you should not be able to use somebody's artistic endeavors as a means of evidence for prosecution. I don't know if that's where this falls in there. Like, does this work the other way where now, like, it's not defamation, it's just art?
Right. Yeah. I mean, those examples you bring up are usually evidence used for gang violence. Yeah. Right? Yeah. If there's something that appears to be a threat of gang violence in a rap song that's very specific and very targeted in nature, can you use that as some sort of confession of guilt in a criminal case? But in this situation, I don't know. Can you separate art from the artist and the subject from the art?
In relation to...
He is actually naming him, though. Yeah. And he's very clearly accusing him of crimes against children.
Yeah, it's a huge accusation. It wasn't so vague. As an artistic endeavor, it wasn't vague. No. It wasn't really done.
It also wasn't a good song, personal opinion.
I've never liked his music, but that's just me personally.
It got streams because of the drama.
Well, I mean, no, he's very popular, and he is very, very well liked as a performer. It's just not my personal.
Well, yeah, but it wouldn't have otherwise been the #1 streamed song of the year had it not been for the feud between them. And Drake didn't have a follow-up. He just went silent and started working with his lawyers.
Yeah.
And here we have the result.
But that just feels like a loss to me.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
It's definitely at least a loss of dignity.
It's like when you get into a schoolyard fight and then you go and tell the principal rather than fight back.
Right,
It just doesn't work to me.
And I feel like also since Diddy's case has been getting so much attention, Drake's allegations fell by the wayside. Like nobody was paying attention to them anymore.
The best thing that Drake could do, from what I've gathered, is if he wants to win, he should bet on himself winning. Because from everything that I've seen when it comes to sports betting, there's like a Drake curse where everything he bets on loses. So he should bet on Kendrick winning so that he wins.
Wait, how do people even know that Drake is like a huge gambler?
I think he posts about it a lot with like this. He's probably sponsored by the sports betting site, so they to draw traffic to it. It's kind of like the sports betting version of the women who say I made this many millions of dollars on OnlyFans in 1 week.
Yeah,
right? So we're gonna need Drake to put a bet on Kendrick to win the lawsuit if he has any hope of winning this case. Well, no, he has to put a bet on UMG, on Universal Music Group, winning the lawsuit so that he can win.
People are replying to this headline showing videos of Drake kissing underage women, which it's on video. It is on video, and there's also a picture I'm looking at right now of him at Kylie Jenner's 16th birthday kissing her on the cheek, but also kind of looks like he's holding her in place, like she can't move away. She's like leaning away from him in the photo, as far as I can tell. So there is already this incriminating stuff out there online, and it's going to be hard to run away from. And not to mention, he made claims of criminal activity about Kendrick as well. Like he claimed that Kendrick was beating his wife.
All very, very serious claims.
We have another 20 from Zach Hates YouTube. Brett, have you seen the new Daredevil trailer that dropped today? You guys should react to it. F it, we'll do it live.
Okay, so here's the deal. I really, really liked it. I did. I recorded a 10-minute reaction to it, and then I just tossed it. Because I was just
I came in today, and you were immediately like, I'm not animated enough to do reaction videos.
I'm not. Like, I love the trailer. I tried to... See, here's the thing. In lieu of being, like, really, really animated, if you can't be Eric Butts or one of these people...
If you know, you know.
If you can't be that animated, you have to actually try and add to the conversation. And I did, and I made my points, what I thought about it. There was a lot to really, really like in the trailer. They did seem to lean into the dark violence that made the Netflix Daredevil series so popular. I really, really enjoyed it. They're obviously, from what I can see, they're not adapting the actual Daredevil Born Again plotline, because from what I remember correctly from the Frank Miller story, that is when Karen Page leaves for California to become a movie star, gets addicted to drugs, and then does porn, and then in her worst moment, like, sells Matt Murdock's identity to like a street criminal, and then the news gets back to Kingpin, and that's how his his secret identity is leaked. They're obviously not doing that storyline because it's already in canon that Kingpin knows that Matt Murdock is Daredevil. And one of the funny things about it is like Wilson Fisk is one of the best parts of all 3 seasons of Daredevil 1 and 3. And that's partially because Vincent D'Onofrio was a big dude at that time. He's tall, he's imposing, but he was also pretty overweight. He's slimmed down. I don't know if he's on the Ozempic. He's not like sickly thin, but he's a lot thinner than he was. And it's kind of hard to go back when it comes to like a villain of aura. In season 1, you've got the scene of him decapitating the Russian gang member with the car door. And that was a very, very imposing thing. You get the fact that nobody will even refer to him by name. And after, he gets beaten, and then you get to Hawkeye, and he's not really taken seriously anymore. It's kind of like how Malcolm Merlyn was a very, very serious threat in season 1 of Arrow. But then once you beat the bad guy, it's very hard for them to keep that same aura when you bring them back, because the illusion is broken. They're not the evil villain, or they're not the evil big bad that you thought they were. I really enjoyed a lot of it. It's good to see Karen and Foggy, but we'll wait and see. I'm cautiously optimistic for it. But the trailer did its job in that I was going to watch it before, and I did post about this, but now I will probably end up rewatching all 3 seasons leading up to it. Good to see Wilson Bethel back as Poindexter. I did not read any of the comic run that, Muse was a newer character, so I don't know anything about that. But it was good. There you go. There's a review of the trailer.
All right. Shane H. Wilder said, happy Wednesday, Brett and Mary. By the way, while I was gone, I watched The Traitors on Peacock. It's a reality show similar to the game Mafia. It was great.
I see, like, Peacock being Peacock. Granted, I don't have it anymore, but that was one of the shows that they heavily promoted. Because, it's Peacock and they don't exactly have the Netflix deep bench as far as material.
Grofty said, likes are rare. Donate one for the children. LOL. Wait, what? I don't know what that means.
You should like this video.
The video.
You should like this live stream.
If that's what you mean. Shane H. Wilder said, I got the Tuesday drop, and if I could have, I would have passed it on to you. We got to keep Mary happy, or the show will go to hell. No offense, Brett.
What did it say?
Well, I mean, maybe me being angry improves the quality of this show.
Yeah, there's no reason to believe that anger would ruin it. I mean, everyone knows that angry content does better than positive content anyways.
I love when you get angry. It's just rare.
It happens. If they make a Crow 2, I'll get angry again.
Please, yeah.
Let's do 2 more.
Olivia said, girls are so slow. People still fall for this stuff?
Apparently.
Well, you are a girl, so I hope you're not calling yourself slow. That would be sad. She also said, hi, I'll take a chicken quesadilla with creamy jalapeno sauce, nacho fries, and a Baja Blast, please.
Now I'm hungry.
Ma'am, this is a Wendy's.
All right, let's hold off on the rest.
Okay. Earlier this month, it was announced to the public that Aubrey Plaza's husband tragically died by suicide. And after all of these headlines were circulating, the internet wasted no time in making it the butt of their jokes. It was turning into a meme, essentially, that Aubrey Plaza is single now, guys. Slide into her DMs. And as a result, only after a few days, Aubrey Plaza has deactivated her Instagram account because she was tired of a bunch of creeps swarming into her DMs and comment sections to ask for her hand in marriage, days after her husband was found dead by an assistant in their home. So obviously this is incredibly dark.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to expect, though.
Yeah,
right?
From the internet.
People are so callous. I just thought of this today.
Well, the internet has kind of drained any sense of decorum out of the public.
I think that this was some bit by, I forget which comedian, but he was talking about how, you got to experiment with being mean to people on the playground as a kid, and you would call someone ugly, and you would see their reaction to you saying something mean, and it would make they would feel bad, and then you, if you have a proper level of empathy, you would feel bad.
Yeah.
And you would learn not to repeat that behavior again. But nowadays, children are learning their first interactions online. They say in a comment section something equally as toxic. And actually, in response, you don't see the person you're saying it to having a negative impact on them. You get only positive reinforcement with a bunch of people liking what you said.
I've never okay, so you'll hear people say that they're offended. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody say something really, really mean and the person's like, you hurt my feelings. I don't know if
you mean an online interaction?
In an online interaction. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody say something really, really mean and then they're just like, you just genuinely hurt my feelings.
No, that's what I mean. The whole medium of communication actually masks the person on the other end. Yeah. So this is how people are learning to communicate now.
Yeah.
And people are just, it's true, becoming more callous to other human beings and what they're going through. And it's not just that. It wasn't just creepy comments that were, hitting on Aubrey Plaza as a joke. Mm-hmm. There were also a lot of people saying things like she was to blame for not getting him help soon enough or something. Like making
It's like
many drastic
the most toxic
assumptions.
Facebook mom group you've ever heard of.
Yeah. People are just making the most insane assumptions about her relationship with her husband and coming up with reasons why she didn't do a good enough job to prevent this and why she might have been to blame for this, which is even worse, honestly, than just the troll comments.
That's gonna push people to a point where one day they're like, why would I ever get into a relationship or interact with other humans at all? If anything goes wrong, I'm gonna be blamed. Best I just stay alone so that nobody can hold me responsible for something that I wasn't responsible for to begin with.
We have a 20 from Jose Quintana. So sad for Aubrey. Too many dregs on the net. They are cowards. Sigh. To turn the tide, I will see Wolfman tomorrow afternoon. I'm a Julia Garner fan. By the way, Sydney Sweeney as Black Cat Brett, Empress.
Yeah.
In Madam Web?
No, and they want to do for future Marvel properties. She wasn't Black Cat. Yeah.
She was rumored for a different role, I thought.
I think it was Black Cat.
Was it?
They talked about. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm down. But the thing
it's gonna be her and Cynthia Erivo taking over the MCU.
But here's the thing: I actually would prefer, and I know it's not gonna happen. I know it's not technically possible because she already played. She was already in Madam Web, and even Glenn Powell was already in The Dark Knight, albeit The Dark Knight Rises, albeit in like a bit role. But I would rather they just not do superhero movies and continue to pick their own avant-garde but commercially viable projects. Glenn Powell is currently working on a remake of The Running Man, so that could be very, very interesting. Sydney Sweeney should do the same. She should pick roles that play to her strengths, which isn't really acting, but there's plenty that she can do that will be financially viable. You know, Arnie wasn't the greatest actor either. He never needed to be. She can find her own level of fame in her own way. I would rather they just avoid doing superhero movies. It feels like a step down for them.
Well, she actually has more aspirations to do artistic projects. Thank you.
I mean, I don't know if I see her as wholly artistic either, but, you know. All right.
One person observed here saying, man, it's weird you see people from the outside who seemingly have everything. Career, a beautiful woman, money, and they commit suicide. What more can a person want? Such a depressing thought. That actually doesn't seem weird to me at all because you just listed a bunch of materialistic things that don't last.
One of the things that always happens whenever people talk about celebrities, what problems could they possibly have? They have money. Well, there's endless, and I do mean endless, examples of celebrities with issues with substance abuse and various other things because they're trying to fill a hole in their lives that they're not filling. And it always seems kind of a bit, there's a lack of empathy there where people believe that those who have money just don't have struggles. You know, certainly their struggles are different from that of the average everyday person. And it's very easy for a celebrity to appear disconnected from the average man or woman in how they talk and speak. But that doesn't mean that they don't have their own issues to deal with.
I guess that people were just assuming their comments aren't read by Aubrey Plaza herself.
Probably
if
not.
she even runs her own social media. But seeing that she's deactivated her account so soon after, it implies that she did see these responses and wanted to run as far away from them as possible.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
She was also scheduled to be one of the presenters at the Golden Globes earlier this month and backed out of that responsibility following her husband's death. And I just saw like all of these tweets from guys talking about how it's their turn with Aubrey Plaza now that she's single. And
I remember, do you remember when Zack Snyder's daughter committed suicide and he had to pull out of doing Justice League?
When was that?
2017, 2016,
okay.
I believe. Around that time. And that was a big story at the time, you know. That's tragic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see similar out of touch responses?
Well, a lot of that was like there were people who were like, you got to finish the movie, man. Like,
What?
Yeah, people are nuts.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
People really said that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that wasn't the biggest part of the sentiment. And
like, where do you get
and
the audacity?
And not that wasn't like people in this space here. Like any rational person with any level of empathy understands that your family would come first. But
things you would never say.
Well,
a
lot of people also believe that Warner Brothers used it as a way to get him out of the film because they didn't want him involved anymore. And there was a whole discussion about that because they wanted to bring Joss Whedon in.
Saying it wasn't his choice?
No. But they're saying that it was like they were probably overjoyed with this because they can now bring in Joss Whedon to Jossify their movie and add a bunch of crappy jokes that don't work in the tone of that film.
Okay.
But yeah, it's certainly a tragedy. But the internet being the way it is, I guess it's part of it is like how positive can a person even feel? Because it feels like most of the time now you have to either choose to accept that any level of hope in humanity is going to be seen as naive. And most of the people on the internet don't want to appear naive. Like the worst thing, like cynicism is this guardrail that you put up to avoid looking like you've been had. I would rather be a bit naive once in a while and have a little bit of hope than be constantly cynical all the time, even though that's kind of how I'm wired anyways, is on the cynical side. But that doesn't make it a good thing.
It seems like Gen Z is mostly known for having this baked in cynicism and irony armor around them at all times.
I think millennials started. I think that started with millennials. Millennials' only kryptonite for that was nostalgia. They would let down their guard around the concept of nostalgia, but otherwise, you never want to put yourself out there for real, lest people, make fun of you. I think that's why, like for me personally, the movies that resonate the most with me are the ones that dare to be just a bit sincere. Like a Twisters or a Top Gun Maverick, which is just like, hey, we're not going to lean into cynicism. We're going to have the guts to be sincere in our description.
It's unapologetically just
and
what it
is. It's
is.
rare these days.
We have another 20 from Jose Quintana. By the way, Pam Bondi killed her confirmation hearing today. Okay, both of you, which superpower, X-ray vision, super hearing, or the ability to alter the elements? Long live PCC.
Ability to alter the elements.
Super hearing is what you need.
Yeah, given that I can't.
That would just be normal hearing.
See, the thing, if I was given super hearing, it would probably just bring me back to normal.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to waste such a gift on that.
You would be shocked at how much it improves your quality of life to have 2 working ears.
It does. It does suck sometimes.
I don't know what altering the elements means, but it sounds cooler than the other ones, so I'm going to choose that. And the X-ray vision one just sounds creepy. So I'll go with that. But yeah, I think the irony started off as just a style of communication or a sense of humor. And then it turned into a defense mechanism for young people. But then it went even further than a defense mechanism, and it actually just became a philosophy of life, like an entire worldview for these people.
The inability to be authentic or the inability to be sincere.
Yeah, that's like a core belief for them. And it's because of the internet.
Well, what you don't commit to can't hurt you.
It's also the idea that, like, no thought is so, I don't know. It's like the idea that no thought should stay inside your mind. like there's no thought that should remain private.
That you have to vomit out everything you think.
Yeah, you just have to let everything out and let your freak flag fly.
95% of what I think never gets said.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Like, it's custody of your own mouth.
Most of the time, it's like my brain is just so scattershot and poorly designed that I have a hard time putting it to words anyways. Like, there is this idea that one of the most infuriating things is the feeling like you want to share something with the world and you just don't know how to do so in an eloquent manner. That sucks. But also, maybe you're just not the one to do that. Maybe that's just not for you. I was talking yesterday about the concept of humility on Twitter. It's like, you know what? Not everybody's going to be the best spoken. Not everyone is going to be the best written. And that's fine. That's fine. So Yeah, but in general, I wish there was a bit more sincerity, but the internet doesn't really benefit from that because the internet only benefits from cynicism and anger, it seems.
Not just sincerity, but just some discretion would be nice once in a while. Someone pointed out, hey guys, Aubrey Plaza is single is an inside your head statement. Or even dark humor with your spouse or best friend statement.
That stays in the group chat.
Definitely not an out in public on social media statement. But this is like what happens when people have their real life personality and then their own persona that they use, whether they're at work or interacting with family or friends. And then they have their own different, separate persona that exists solely online. And that's their main mode of expression. And it's where all the ugliness goes to get, you know, expressed and processed out in the open in front of everyone. And it's just not true. Like, that's not a trait of integrity. I'm not even someone who's like on the let's be nice on the internet brigade. Like, that's I routinely say that, you know, if you're getting cyberbullied, if that's what you want to call it, the proper response is exactly what Aubrey Plaza did, which is distance yourself from it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't expect people to behave nicely to you when they're just strangers to you, but also there is a responsibility for the way you conduct yourself as well.
Yep. All right.
Okay, let's read some super chats. Grofty said, I'd like fries, please, LOL. Fries?
We might have missed something.
We must have missed something. Pop Culture Junkie said Harrison Ford's first wife was E.T. screenwriter Melissa Matheson.
There you go.
So who is he with now?
There's got to be more examples, I'm sure, of male actors who have married behind the scenes.
Shane H. Wilder said, if a woman went shopping for you, you wouldn't get it for 5 hours. Just kidding, ladies. I just go to the store in and out in 15 minutes. I guess men are focusing on doing it fast and women are focused on doing it well.
Well, what is it? It's like you can have it cheap, you can have it good, and you can have it fast. You can pick two, but not all three.
No Control said Instacart sponsored Dylan Mulvaney for a little girl's slumber party ad a few months prior to the Bud Light fiasco.
What?
I didn't even hear about that. They must feel like they dodged a huge bullet.
Yeah.
Why did they not get involved in that conversation?
Let's
That's
do
really
one more.
weird. Shane H. Wilder said HEB in Texas has their own workers get everything. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
It must be a Texas thing.
All right. Let's hold off on the rest and let's come back.
All right. Former child star Keke Palmer is currently on the press circuit for her memoir. This is kind of becoming a trend where all of the former stars of Nickelodeon and Disney are telling all about what they went through as child entertainers. And here was an insight that she offered in a recent interview with The Cut. She believes that racism is the real reason why she never rose to the same level of success or stardom as some other more recognizable faces like Miley Cyrus or Selena Gomez, Demi Lovato. The list could go on. They say in this piece, we're in a cultural moment dominated by former child stars. A series of explosive tell-alls purport to show what life was really like for them. From the documentaries Quiet on Set and Child Star to Jeanette McCurdy's memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died. But Keke Palmer's memoir, Master of Me, gestures at the traditional narrative of what it's like to be a child entertainer. The intense pressure to live up to adult expectations, the tendency to constantly perform for others, the realization that you have to look after yourself when there aren't any grown-ups around. However, Keke Palmer says that her experiences at Nickelodeon were not the same as those of her former colleagues. She says she was not pushed into any inappropriate situations by network executives. She said, sure, the child star industry is inherently exploitative, but everything is inherently exploitative.
How do you feel about that?
Really bizarre statement. She goes on to say, everything is a problem and everything is hurting somebody else. no disrespect because everyone's experience is valid, but I don't want to group my experiences with theirs because that's not how I think, and that's a big part of how I've survived.
Mm-hmm.
So her statement that she thinks everything in the world, like everything, is exploitative, and nothing exists without hurting somebody. Nothing exists without a victim counterpart is kind of bizarre to me.
It's a very, very modern day Marxist philosophy that is very, very prevalent in Hollywood. Like when I read that, I kind of rolled my eyes. It's the type of thing where I 110% believe that she enjoys saying it in an interview. I don't know how many of them actually follow through logically to believing these things on a larger scale. Like, have they actually studied these philosophies? Could she give you more details on what she actually means by that? I'm sure that right after that, she's got something to say about capitalism.
Well, I think
and the exploitative nature of capitalism.
It's telling that, she has this foundational belief that everything is exploitative. That's probably why she thinks that the success of someone like Miley Cyrus or Selena Gomez actually can't exist without the victimhood of a Keke Palmer.
Yeah.
Like, those things are interlinked.
One person's victory is by definition another person's loss.
So Miley Cyrus won. She's the queen of Disney Channel. And you have to lose to make that possible.
But by that logic, there's also millions of other people who lost.
Exactly.
Of
the other
races,
people who
genders,
auditioned for
creeds,
the
and
role.
colors. Yeah.
In fact, Emily Osment auditioned for the role. And she got the sidekick character. She lost. That is how the world works. But it doesn't mean it's exploitative.
That's why I love the concept that gratitude is perhaps the greatest quality you can have for life, which is that to have it when life isn't going that great, to find the things that you are grateful for, is a mindset that will carry you through the hardest times and doesn't go away or is harder to go away once you do achieve some level of success. When you can be grateful for what you have, no matter how little that is, you are infinitely better off mentally than someone who has the chip on their shoulder. Though having a chip on your shoulder can be a great motivator for a lot of people, at least in my opinion, that oddly enough makes then the success less impactful to you because you're always looking for the next thing to conquer. Whereas finding gratitude in what you have can be both beneficial when you're struggling and doesn't go away when you've moved on and found greater things in your life.
Yeah, if you have the chip on your shoulder to motivate you and you reach your goal, it's just to rub it in the face of other people, not to attain it in and of itself.
Like, for instance, I would say that to even be in the same discussion as someone like a Keke Palmer is something to be grateful for.
Well, that's actually...
Or, I'm sorry, to be in the same discussion as someone like a Selena Gomez, for her, should be something to be grateful for.
Her ultimate point is that she's not in the same conversation, and she would be right to think that. But the story goes that Keke Palmer narrowly avoided the child star to train wreck pipeline that we hear about. And by 2008, she landed her breakout role as True Jackson in Nickelodeon's show True Jackson VP. And in this show, she plays a teenage fashion executive. Fashion designer turned fashion executive.
I love the Nickelodeon of it all in that concept.
I know.
It's like teenage spy, teenage...
Yeah. Like, I loved the show, and I also was a child who was into fashion at the time, so I remember this show fondly, but it was no Hannah Montana, it was no Sweet Life, it was not any of those, it was not even a That's So Raven. But they say this is the part that launched her into bona fide child stardom, and she had to make it about race. She did.
But again, my point would always be that if I'm her, I'm going to think about how, like, look at where I am. Look at all of the girls who sat in the waiting room auditioning for this role that never got to this level. Even doing, like, this show that we do, you're in rarefied space amongst people that are very, very successful in this industry. Are we ever going to be as big as some of those other podcasts? No, of course not. But that doesn't mean you don't have gratitude for what you've accomplished. I don't know.
Definitely. It's like she's not putting it into perspective. because she does compare herself incessantly to those who were more successful.
Which
but
is funny because she then says that she doesn't compare herself to...
Well, they say even though True Jackson VP was successful, Palmer was acutely aware as a young black woman in Hollywood that people were putting limitations on me. Quote, I wasn't necessarily in the same conversations as Victoria Justice or Selena Gomez or Miley Cyrus at the time. It was very much, that's the black show, or that's Keke Palmer, the black girl on the network. She also recalls being the only black child in her private school class in her hometown. She said there's a loss of innocence that comes with the awareness that you're treated differently that I had accepted a long time ago. Now, she says, she feels very differently. Quote, here's the ironic part, I don't compare myself to anyone, but I definitely don't compare myself to any white person. Press X'd it out because that's literally what you were doing a paragraph ago.
Exactly.
You were actually comparing yourself to several white people who were more successful than you. And people were trying to say the obvious logical explanation here. Her show on Nickelodeon was not as successful, popular, or iconic as Victorious or Wizards of Waverly Place or any of those go down the list that people in my generation loved. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
One of the most underrated theme songs, I will say, but it wasn't as popular. And now they're going to rewrite history and claim, as this person does, it wasn't as popular because it was the black show. That's the point she's making. It's because they didn't push her show like the other ones because it was a black show. Why on earth would Nickelodeon cast a black person in their show as the lead role and not want it to be successful?
Yeah.
Like, they don't want money. They don't want money. Is that what I'm hearing?
It's something that doesn't fall, like it doesn't pass the smell test. Any
Raven
logical
Simone.
thought, yeah.
Okay, Raven Simone was like the queen of Disney Channel before Miley Cyrus ever showed up and was part of the conversation.
Yep.
And obviously that is a black-led show. No one even mentioned it. It wasn't even mentioned at all.
What would people say about Will Smith as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air long before
black
any
show.
of this? It's
Like-
very, very successful.
So she's just rewriting the story in her head because she has a chip on her shoulder.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yep. It's weird too because I find maybe it's inherent to my own personality, but those who kind of do not take that approach, those who are like, who talk about their success or their failure as something to own themselves, both good and bad, are always going to be looked upon more favorably because they're taking agency over their actions, right? And when you put it in the hands of others, it just never rings true for most people.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that other people have bigger problems to worry about than Keke Palmer does. So you're not going to be getting much sympathy from the masses.
People like it when you own your successes and your failures. And it's not like what she's talking about was a failure in any stretch of the imagination. It was a success. It's just when you parasitically compare yourself to those around you, you're going to have a really, really hard time feeling any sense of gratitude for anything.
Mm-hmm. She's had success since then as well. She was in Nope.
Yes,
that was a big movie.
She transitioned into adulthood and to an actual career as an actress, better than a lot of them do.
She was also in Scream Queens for a spell.
I'm half an episode into Scream Queens. I'll tell you what, I watched the first 5 to 10 minutes and I was like, oh, I know why Mary likes this.
Because the main character is a psychotic murderer.
She's absolutely.
What does that say about me?
She's absolutely insane, narcissistic, and evil.
I love Chanel Oberlin.
Yeah, I knew you would. I was watching this. I'm like, oh, I know why she likes this show. Holy crap.
Emma Roberts definitely deserved the role, not just a Nepo baby. The acting was 10 out of 10. Okay, let's finish these super chats.
Let's get to. We had 4 crisis parties on Tuesday. How many do we have? We had 4 on Monday, right?
Yes.
Let's get to 4.
Let's keep it going.
Yes.
Yeah, don't break the streak. Brian Bledsoe said, I don't use Instacart, instead Walmart Plus, no problem. Walmart Plus.
Okay.
People out there really have Walmart Plus.
I might have to sign up for it.
Wow.
I did see that they changed their logo. It's just darker and slightly bolder.
It's darker? Like it's...
Like the blue is a slightly darker shade of blue. It literally looks like you could have just recalibrated your monitor. Except for the... I don't even know what they are. The yellow, petals.
I don't even know what that is.
I just thought they were like flower petals.
It's a sun.
A sun, I guess.
Sunshine.
Whatever it is, they're slightly bolder.
Got it.
Yeah.
Andrew Quee said, change of topics, could you please do a once a month tabletop game session, D&D or 40K? We could.
But
would we?
Tim and Ian might. We're not going to.
Yeah, that's not really our thing. Tim is really into that.
The Red Devil says Emma Roberts was in Scream 4. Yes, she was, and her size was a disadvantage.
Scream 4?
In the movie Scream 4. Yeah, oh yeah. Yep.
She did kind of become known for like black comedy, horror stuff.
Her thing.
Pop Culture Junkie said, Mary, any more info on men and static objects?
What was that in relation to? Oh, like I guess men not being able to see.
Yeah, it's basically just means that men don't perceive static objects as easily as women do.
I believe it 110%.
Yeah, women like know what's sitting in the corner of the room. They can, in fact, it's probably why women are better at cleaning. They see, the dirt and they see things that are sitting still. Men are evolved to pay more attention to moving objects because they're hunting, right?
When I'm it's definitely
they're detecting threats.
Find this thing in the fridge. That's not a meme, or that's a meme for a reason.
Thing.
That's a real thing where you're looking for it. And you're like, and I am definitely guilty of like the worst thing I ever want to be is like put on the spot, like, hey, go grab this thing, and they're in the room with you, and then you're looking around and you can't find it, and you start to panic because you don't know where it is, and they're like, right there. Right there, and you just don't know what they're pointing at there. The same thing kind of happens for me with sounds because of my deaf ear.
Yeah.
Like I can't easily locate spatially where a sound is coming from because of my hearing.
It's a real problem.
Yep.
JM Director said Jesus 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
It's happening. 2027, hopefully.
He's back. This time it's personal.
Why did Mel Gibson wait so long for that is what I'm wondering. If you had that in mind, did Jim Caviezel just think like, hey, I would love to, but I need a breather?
No, his career took a hit. He could have used that work at that point. His career took a hit until he starred in the highly applauded Person of Interest, which everybody should go watch.
It's kind of wild that he had such a dry spell in jobs after Passion.
A lot of people thought that he was on a trajectory, like on a more rocket ship
movie star.
I remember he was the bad guy in Deja Vu with Denzel Washington. It was always interesting to see him in a bad guy role. What was the other one? Frequency. In 2000. Yeah, he was meant for bigger things. Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah, I still have been meaning to watch that one. Pop Culture Junkie said, faith-based films are successful because they're not spending money like drunken sailors on the production.
Well, they're spending monkeys. They're spending money like drunken sailors on the cast.
I'm never going to get that out of my head. Cheeky monkey.
JJM Director says, oh my God, Brett, Boomer TV. You must be new here because a Person of Interest reference in Boomer TV.
Is that Boomer TV?
Yeah, it's Dad TV. It was
I did watch it.
It was technically considered high concept because it was a Jonathan Nolan production, but still, network TV. There's a great Greg Owen video about why Dad TV is so popular right now. I do recommend checking that out after the show. It's from like 7 months ago.
Do you mean popular on streaming services?
Dad TV is like Jack Ryan, Reacher, The Terminal List, spy stuff, and dads love that type of stuff. It's great.
Omega Red Fan said, I'd rather Mel Gibson just remake Ben-Hur with Michael Bay's resources.
Well, get Michael Bay to produce the action scenes.
Painful said, the resurrection of Christ is the point of the crucifixion. The garden could be a great prequel. Well, I understand
Who's going to make that Adam and Eve movie?
But I know I've watched The Passion of the Christ once, maybe twice before. And I feel like there was at least the allusion to the resurrection at the end of the movie. I could be wrong. Someone who's seen it recently, please remind me. But, you know, I feel like you don't need more than the allusion to it. Because if you make the sequel, it's just kind of anticlimactic. I don't know. I would find more interest personally in watching a movie about the apostles and like the string of martyrdoms that ensues.
I'm trying to, like, what we need now is like somebody pitching that to the studio.
Well, I don't know if I would be the person to do it, but that's, I don't know. It just seems a little bit kitschy. I don't know. Olivia said Donald Trump over Jesus and I'm a Christian.
I think that's trolling.
I hope so. Shane H. Wilder said Father Stu and Cabrini were excellent modern religious movies. Risen from 2016 was a great resurrection film. Paul, Apostle of Christ from 2018 with Jim Caviezel as St. Luke was also a masterpiece. I didn't know that he played St. Luke. That's interesting.
I didn't know that either. Yeah, people were like, "Are you guys gonna review Cabrini?" And I'm like, "No, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
I'm not.
I mean, the trailer just didn't sell me on it personally.
I'm just not a very no.
I hadn't heard of her before, and then the entire trailer was just
she's Italian and she's a woman.
I'm Italian and a woman, and then it's a different character, and they're like, she's an Italian woman, and it's like said at least 6 times.
Yep.
I don't know. It seemed a little bit corny and not communicating the real concept. Olivia said Mary loved the pickle video and Brett didn't like it.
I actually responded more positively than I imagined Mary thought I would. I wasn't angry. I thought the guy was hilarious. It's just that guy's the worst person you could ever possibly encounter.
You'd hope not to encounter
You'd
him
never
in real
want
life.
to run into that guy.
Honestly, I want to run into that guy.
Like him and the put a girl on guy at the same time.
I would like to encounter someone that crazy just to make life more interesting. High Voltage 75 said put a girl on guy over
there you go.
Pickle guy?
Yeah, still.
Definitely.
She's
yeah.
like, put a girl on. Why would you put a girl on?
You're exaggerating.
Put a girl on.
Fat and Fresh said whiny voice, I just want more pickles.
I just want pickles. What are you talking about?
Value in You said the internet causes a condition called proximity distortion. Let Aubrey Plaza grieve. Sad.
Yeah, it's a lot hard.
This?
For some reason, a lot of people have a harder time empathizing when they're not in proximity to a person.
I mean, it does make sense, but
so you put a girl on.
I
but
haven't
no
heard of that
pickles?
before. Proximity distortion. I don't see anything about it, but I'll look into that. Corey Anderson said, I used to be a Taco Bell shift manager in the late 90s. Baja, chalupa, and hot stuff burritos are the best. I would make deep fried burritos after hours.
Damn.
You get to do that there?
Like you're all whipping up your own
It was
crap
the
on
90s.
It was the 90s. Like now I
Yeah.
imagine like the grill's on a timer and you're
Yeah.
like it doesn't let you.
There's like
It
corporate.
it senses if the ingredients are not store approved.
No, corporate is watching at all times.
Yep.
You get in big trouble for that now. But that sounds like a vibe.
That or you come up with a great idea and then they steal it and put it on the menu and don't credit you.
So true. Shane H. Wilder said, I feel for Aubrey. People have forgotten what it's like to be human. Instead of humans, we now have trolls and coomers. We went wrong somewhere. Definitely. Red Snow said, never sell out. We can't let PCC become fake and gay.
How would we sell out?
Are you worried about us selling out? And if you are, tell us what would it look like?
I show up in a suit one day.
If PCC were to sell out, please tell me what that would mean.
Does that mean I'm in a suit? Like I guess like I have to wear a tie to work because that wouldn't work.
We were okay. Here's a sign that we're not going to sell out. We were offered an ad read thing from a dating app that I have expressly condemned before, and I said I'm not going to promote this.
Yeah.
So we chose integrity over money.
The only other way to do that would be like I read it and Mary just sits there and makes a mean face
Then
the
I
whole
just
time.
look disapproving.
The whole time.
Yeah.
I guess would selling out be kind of like in Wayne's World where they get bought out and then suddenly they move to the studio that looks exactly like Wayne's basement and the theme song isn't Wayne playing it, but it's rather a jingle version of it. Is that selling out for us? I kind of like it. Like we have like high-end money guns.
They're just more violent.
Like and it shoots real money rather than fake money. Is that what selling out looks like
that would
for
be
us?
the mark of selling out. If we start shooting real money out of the money guns, then you'll know.
Okay.
Tacty Platty said, my personas are the same. Avocado's always bad. So you're the same person on and offline. I will just admit, as I have before, I am not the same person on and offline. I'm not.
Most people aren't.
I am some fraction of myself on this show, but it's not inauthentic because it's still part of me.
Dingus Khan says mobile game ad reads. Look, I would love a Raid Shadow Legends ad read. We got one and then we never ended up following up on it. But I would love I mean, it's like a rite of passage, right? To do the Raid Shadow Legends ad read. That or a Raycon ad read.
Right, didn't we get that too?
I don't know if we got that one, but we should
We've gotten a lot of offers, just so you know. This is from Shane H. Wilder. HEB is a grocery chain. They get everything and then Instacart or Favor driver picks everything up at the front of the store.
They must love that then. They don't have to do the shopping.
Pop Culture Junkie said, Brett, agree with you 1000% regarding gratitude. Once I learned how to use it to modulate my behavior, I was a much happier person.
Yeah, like okay, so for me, the difference is I kind of have like two modes where part of it is gratitude and the other part is a bit of self-doubt, and they kind of run hand in hand. Gratitude's important, but quelling ego and humility can give way to like a lack of confidence, and finding a middle ground there is kind of the mode for me, which is I tend to be very cynical. For instance, every time the show is over, I'm like, Mary did great, I did awful. And that's usually how I feel about most shows. Or if a show goes too well too many days in a row, I'm like,
then you're like, it's due.
It's about to go bad. It's about to go bad. And I don't know.
I don't generally think that way.
But then there was one day where Mary's like, that show was awful, and I had no recollection. It just didn't seem awful to me that day.
I have probably a different grading system. My headphones are really uncomfortable for some reason at this moment. Okay. Pat the Plumber said, losers always whine about an ism. Winners go home and F the prom queen. That's one way of putting it.
I also think that, like, for me, I tend to have, like, here's why self-doubt plays into that, where if I don't succeed at something, my first instinct is never to assume that it's because, my first instinct is always to assume that I did something wrong or that I didn't do enough, not that I was held back in some way.
We have a 20 from Just 'Cause I'm Free. Mary saying she's not the same online versus offline. This is proof she's a lizard person that drinks blood. Conspiracy confirmed.
What type of blood though? Not adrenochrome.
Well, you know what I mean. I might have scales that I molt once a month, but like that doesn't mean I'm not a human.
Sounds like an X-Files episode.
Said, can watch preview for Star Trek Section 31 with
Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh? What is that?
On principle, I'm not going to watch that.
Why?
Because it's Star Trek.
Oh, you're just boycotting it.
Yeah, I just don't
altogether.
watch Star Trek, yeah.
What about if there's a new Star Wars movie coming up?
No.
I mean, there are new Star Wars movies coming up, and like, we will have to review them.
Do we though?
Well, we kind of have to. I mean, if we reviewed the Marvels, it's only fair.
No. Yeah, we would. We would.
We have to, at least share our outrage with everyone. Red Snow said, so is that why we invented jiggle physics? Wait, what? Is that in reference to something?
Jiggle physics. It's
No, but like what?
I don't know what he's talking about. What the first part is.
Okay. Red Snow, or no? Is that still? Red Snow? Shane H. Wilder said, Brett said, person of interest. Reset the counter.
Yes, I did. Look, if Jim Caviezel gets brought up in some discussion, I'm going to mention tangentially that, Person of Interest is a masterpiece.
It deserves a mention. Mm-hmm. It's actually a good show. I just wasn't able to get back into it a second time.
It's also like long form. It is guilty of the thing that, depending on the type of shows that you like, where if somebody says, "Oh, you just got to get through the first 2 seasons and then it gets great." Here's the thing: I love the first 2 seasons. I like the less serialized, more episode of the week style of the first 2 seasons, where they sprinkle in the overarching story and flashbacks. When it starts to become heavily serialized, and you're going to be lost if you don't pay attention.
Right.
Once you get through episode 3-9, and something very specific happens there with Carter. Once you get through that, and then you start getting into the Samaritan storyline, you got to start paying attention each and every episode, lest you miss something. I just don't like that as much, but I adore all of it, but those first 2 seasons specifically.
Jose Quintana said, "Correct, Mary. Final scene shows his face, slight smile, then he zips away." Okay, so they showed the resurrection in Passion of the Christ. And then they're just going to start it right where they left off.
Apparently.
Except Jim Caviezel looks like 20 years older now. Maybe they just won't de-age him. Maybe they'll just leave it.
I like it. Look, that was how long in the story, how long is it between them?
Between what?
But how long will have passed between the 2 movies? Like, in story.
3 days.
So he's like, look, that was the longest 3 days of my life.
I don't know. I went to hell.
And on the 3rd day.
I came back.
And on the 3rd day, I tried to get a mud mask.
I'm looking rough right now.
And I'm looking rough.
Wait, how old is Jim Caviezel?
He's got to be close to 60 now, or his mid-50s now.
Let me check. Yeah, he's 56. He's supposed to be playing a 33-year-old here. And I don't know. Not saying he looks bad for his age, but it's a little hard to believe.
Mike M says Root sucked after season 2. The Root and Shaw storyline definitely ends up being one of those things where I was like, they very clearly wanted to put Shaw with Jim Caviezel, they wanted them together, her and Mr. Reese, but they just didn't have the chemistry that her and Amy Acker had.
DCNC said, "Is Mel Gibson kosher now, or is he still canceled?" Same question regarding Russell Crowe. When was Russell Crowe canceled?
I don't know. The story in his Rogan episode where he talks about getting a flat tire, and a guy comes up to him and tries to get money from him, and he says, "I just act crazy. That way they leave you alone."
You start barking.
He's like, and people start and then he was in a bad neighborhood, and people started coming up to me. I just act crazy and yell. And
wait, so that was his excuse?
This isn't for the story they're talking about. Let's get a 4th crisis party.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Shane H. Wilder said the trailer for Cabrini was ass, but the movie was great. I do recommend Risen, as it follows a Roman soldier trying to figure out where Christ went. That's an interesting angle. Whatever happened to the movie about Jesus doing, what was it? He's
NASCAR.
like a boxer?
Oh, darn. Oh, damn. We gotta.
Do you remember that?
What was that called? I wanted to see that. He wasn't a boxer. He was like an MMA fighter.
No, yeah, it's MMA.
What the hell was the name of that? I thought you were gonna say he was like a NASCAR driver. It's called Jesus Takes the Wheel.
No, it's like a real movie that involves Jesus being an MMA fighter.
Does anybody remember? We talked about it on this channel.
We did talk about it on the show. I just don't remember the name.
It was awesome. The trailer was awesome. It made no sense.
Carnell said, "Mary, am I led to believe that you wouldn't sell out for a Taco Bell sponsorship? Inquiring minds want to know." Well, I mean, the sponsorship doesn't mean I have to sell out, right? If they tried to get me to say stuff that I don't believe, I love gay marriage, buy Taco Bell. I wouldn't do that. But I don't think it would require me to betray my values. Jewish AF of Christendom said, "Who here has already failed their resolutions?"
I didn't make any.
I didn't either. I'm waiting for Lent.
As Mary knows, I try to make minor changes to my life all the time. and adjust as such. I never make the big.
You're in a constant state of flux.
I never make like the grand gestures to like make changes because it rarely works.
Just because I'm free said, Mary saying she. Oh, I think I already read that one. Schrodinger's effery. Michelle Yeoh probably stinks.
That was rude.
Where do you get
Michelle
that idea?
Yeoh can look. Tomorrow Never Dies is great. Think about that. Like she's been around for a very long time. So she was great in that movie.
I never heard of her until Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah. She made I mean, she's big now, but that was a big, boon for her.
DC&C said Eddie Murphy was right about Star Trek. The only redeeming thing is Shatner, and Shatner getting with all the hot green alien ladies. Is that part of the plot? I don't know. I guess neither of us would know because we don't watch
There's
it.
a 20 there from Just Because I'm Free.
The sequel to The Passion follows the story of Jesus according to Mormons. What a twist. Well, thankfully, I know that's not true because Mel Gibson is a fellow Catholic and he wouldn't do that. But the story according to Mormons is actually crazy. I had them explain it to me when they showed up at my door a few months ago.
Oh, I bet you love that.
I did. I mean, I was so ready. They didn't expect to have a full-on conversation, I'm sure. But they were going to door to door. I saw them on the way, and I was like, I'm getting ready. I'm preparing.
You like write out questions you want to ask them?
I go grab my catechism. I'm ready to go. I have plenty of flavored seltzer water for them to drink because they don't drink soda. And we just got right into business. And they explained to me that Jesus went to North America.
Why?
After his resurrection, after appearing to the apostles, he went to North America to preach the gospel to the uncontacted tribes.
I feel like if I was better informed on this topic, I could engage more. Anytime we talk about this stuff, I'm like, I could make some great jokes if I knew more about what we were talking about.
Well,
Not to be mean.
Their ideas are totally insane. And honestly, it's just crazy enough that I would watch a movie about it. Red Snow said men don't see static objects, so we had to invent jiggle physics to see more things. Also, praise be to Space King and B positive crew blood sign.
Maybe that is why jiggle physics are now so important in video games. How are you going to see her moving if
I think men just like boobs.
Could be that.
Might be more simple explanation.
Not very, not very intellectual thought process, but probably more accurate.
Schrodinger's effery said resolutions are gay. Leave the gym. It's too crowded.
Yeah, I'm sure more than a few of the actual committed at the gym are annoyed for the first month of the year.
High Voltage 75 said, how's that new party song coming along? Actually, I have one to send you.
Oh, good. Okay, send it to me.
It might even be better than the one we have now.
Well, then, I'm still going to add my own...
Your own flair.
It's going to be explosions.
No, okay. At least to a minimum.
Yeah, maybe.
I still want to be able to dance to it.
Send it to me after the show.
It boosts morale.
Look, I finished another Crisis Party, but out of respect for Mary, I didn't want to just assault her eardrums with like loud explosions and screams.
Screaming.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder said the MMA Jesus was the carpenter.
Ah, yes.
Apparently it came out on Halloween last year. Who knew?
I'm going to have to check it out, see if I can find it somewhere.
Must have been streaming only. I assume that wouldn't get much play at the theaters. For whatever reason.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all caught up.
We're
now.
about 2/3 of the way to a fourth Crisis Party.
Yeah.
Getting there.
We just need $43.
Well, sometimes
we get to
the math is all wonky because of exchange rates and stuff like that. So roughly $43.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You were just explaining to me earlier, speaking of jiggle physics, that allegedly Scarlett Johansson was the proto Sydney Sweeney of Hollywood.
No, I just drew that as like a...
But she had a Sydney Sweeney-esque affect or brand, public image.
Yeah.
And I guess I
but
didn't
a far
recall
better
it
actress
being that way.
But a far better actress.
Yeah.
I mean, she was never she didn't have to shy away from her sexuality or her beauty.
And you referred to this one interview she did.
Yep. Where so like an interviewer who if I remember correctly, because it would not have been acceptable to them in any other way, an interviewer who I believe was gay asked if he could like touch her chest. And she's like, yeah, sure. And it became a memeable GIF for many, many years.
I just wonder what he thought he was doing when he asked that. He could have lost his job.
Yeah.
But it was also a different time. They say his name is Isaac Mizrahi.
Okay.
During the 2006 Golden Globes.
See, that was a long time ago. That's almost 20 years ago.
He was interviewing actresses on the red carpet, and he grabbed Scarlett Johansson's breast. It doesn't say anything about him asking.
I'm pretty sure
this
he
incident
asked.
occurred more than a decade before the Me Too movement and was widely reported and discussed. Scarlett Johansson herself has referred to him as gay. He is a fashion designer, so safe to guess that he is gay. And suggesting that if he wasn't gay, she might have reacted more forcefully. So it's only okay to grope women if you're gay, or you can convince them that you're gay.
He's a fashion designer. That's what it says. Okay.
He was just measuring her so he could design a dress for her, obviously.
Well, 20 years go by, and now she's going to host the Today Show.
I wonder if he's been taken to task for that
Probably
as the
not.
years have gone on,
Probably
you know?
not.
When the Me Too movement popped
If
off.
it didn't happen then it didn't happen at all.
Yeah. Schrodinger's effery said, reverse exorcism, the demon asks the priest to exit the child.
Ugh.
There's some dark humor.
Mm-hmm.
I was just ranting about the marvelification of a movie like The Pope's Exorcist.
Yeah.
And so, in case you weren't familiar with this, I was really excited to see this movie last year. Or was it
Last year. I think it was
last year. It's about Father Gabriel Amorth, who was the Vatican's exorcist. I forget what year it's told in, but I was really excited that it's based on a true story and a real person. There's a lot of potential there, and I'm Catholic, so that's like an extra layer of interest for me. But I go to see it, and it's like basically turning an exorcism into like a Marvel boss fight with
Was there a skybeam?
I mean, I kind of recall that there are CGI beams going on. Like, there are definitely beams. And they're like, it's like weird. They're like struggling to like win the fight against the demons.
Of course.
And they're two priests. And then they do the whole thing like after it's over, like after they exorcise the demon. The two priests are like laughing with each other, like the wind down of the battle scene, and like then it kind of leaves it off on a cliffhanger, like they're about to do another, like they're about to do a sequel.
Sounds like I was imagining them putting a cross in like a sheath on his back.
Literally,
like
it might as well have been that he pulled out a crucifix and there's like a beam coming out of it. And I was like, this can't be real right now. Like, this is so deeply unserious.
They thought they did something.
They did. Actually, that was Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
And I was wondering why the heck he did that movie. Must be because he's canceled.
Yeah.
For reasons I don't know. Yurishima Otaru said ScarJo was the Va-Va-Voom girl before Sydney.
Yeah.
But yeah, did she have the same brand?
No. She was a more serious
She was just
actress.
taken more seriously, I think.
Yep.
You know, I don't think her boobs were like the main topic of conversation. DC&C said, Mormons are such wholesome people, always fun to talk to. Strange ideas, sure, but then again, I've never blamed a demon when I couldn't find my lunchbox. Mary? I don't think I have a lunchbox.
I need to buy a lunchbox.
And if I lost one, I don't think I'd blame a demon. I would pray to St. Anthony, though.
I had to do that a lot as a kid because I lost everything when I was young.
Typical Brett.
Yep.
Typical Brett moment.
Doesn't happen. No, now I'm pretty good about it. I'm very regimented in where I put everything in my place. So it's like I don't lose things because I know. But if you upset my daily routine, things go missing.
Mormons are really nice, though. Have you noticed that too? Or have you just not interacted?
I don't interact with them.
They're very nice. They're very clean cut, and they really have their shit together.
always good qualities.
There are people like Ballerina Farm, for instance. People like Nara Smith, both Mormons. They're not like super forthcoming about it, but they tend to really be like high achieving, great at dressing well, and
they get their stuff done. They take care of it.
Yeah. Very efficient people. Jose Quintana, I don't know what this... Oh, Mizrahi. It's about the reporter. At one time, Mizrahi was at the top of the fashion world decades ago. He now sells his wares on QVC channels. He is still around.
I don't know why, but I imagine somehow that's actually really lucrative.
I actually have like a jacket from QVC, but not because I watched QVC. I just found it at a Goodwill. Yeah. But yeah, it is. They know exactly the type of, layabout that they're selling to. Yeah.
I just like that it still exists at all. Like,
yeah, it's weird, right?
I like the idea that even though I haven't had like terrestrial television in years, that I could get it just so I could turn it on and find an infomercial where I could buy something.
There's like a weirdly, almost like psychoactive element about it.
I like
it's like pulling you into this immersive, fuzzy, warm world of products. Dr. Larsena said, "Hey guys, it's my birthday. By the way, my name is Erin Larson. I am a holder of a rather useless, though thoroughly earned, doctorate in history."
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, and congratulations on your doctorate.
Yes, that's a big deal.
Doctor, you're actually a doctor. That's not a joke in your username. I guess that means you're Larson A. Sorry about that. Schrodinger's Effery said, "Marveling exorcism sounds gayer than sodomy." It wasn't the straightest thing in the world.
It is impressive that Dr. Larsena did not correct it as Dr. Larson A for all of the time that he's watched the show.
You know what? I'm just going to keep saying it the wrong way until
I like
you
it.
correct me. Shane H. Wilder said, "The Pope's Exorcist was horrible. They're turning it into a franchise. Blech. Watch The Devil and Father Amorth instead from William Friedkin instead. I haven't seen that, but thank you for the recommendation.
Just because I'm free.
I don't see the rest of
It says
these.
Mormons are smarter than given credit. The husbands are always happy because the wives talk to each other and not the husband. So smart.
Okay, well, not to defame the Mormons, because the vast majority of them don't practice polygamy, and it also is illegal.
Jose Quintana says, "Fun fact, I have dated Jehovah's Witnesses, Pentecostals, and my ex-wife is a Mormon, got married in an LDS cathedral. Long live PCC." I lived two houses.
Quite the variety there.
I lived 2 houses down growing up from a family of Jehovah's Witnesses. Very nice people.
How did you know that they were Jehovah's Witnesses?
I have no idea. We just knew.
They told you?
I knew the kids.
Did they want you to be Jehovah's Witness?
I don't think they ever did anything like that to us. I don't think they ever walked our neighborhood. If they did, I don't remember it. Huh. But I just remember they had very strict rules for their family, and I was like, man, I'm so glad my life's not that strict. That's all I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one more from Shane H. Wilder. "Sorry for the double instead multitasking."
That's okay. All right. Guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to this channel? Perfect timing. If you have not subscribed here yet already.
Thank you.
Mary's going to have to send me the new Crisis Party sound. I'll work on it this weekend. All right. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
All right. If you would like to follow me, I am on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would prefer to listen rather than watch the show, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Helps the channel when you do that. And if you want to follow the show on social media, Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok because TikTok's getting banned, at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Mary, I think there's one more there.
One more from Schrodinger's Effery. Mormons believe you become a god of a new planet when you die, not exactly a faith based in logic. Yeah, nothing personal, but their beliefs are pretty wacky.
I mean, that's kind of a great selling point for me. I'm like, I do. Sweet.
I mean,
me
yeah,
up.
that almost makes it sound less believable, though, right? Because it sounds like something you want to...
Like, sweet.
Yeah. But also, what's with all that responsibility? Like, I don't want to deal with running a planet.
Like, what if I just want to be, like, treasurer of another planet?
Yeah, can I be the personal assistant?
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Guys, we'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.